Dirty Sports Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Athens, Georgia today, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Georgia. You like my Ray Charles?
Yeah.
Georgia.
It was the last minute. It was you and Jamie Foxx, and they were like, I don't know. It's close. They're like, I think we're just gonna go with Jamie because he's black. But Andy really does the Ray Charles way better.
Georgia. I can't believe Brittany wanted to name our daughter Georgia.
Why?
I don't know. I wasn't a fan.
Well, you can't name your daughter Georgia if you're from Georgia, right? I don't know. I think I like the name Georgia.
No.
Okay.
It's too southern for me.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. You can't like name your daughter Madison if you live on the Upper East Side.
True.
You know, or I guess in Wisconsin. Although I don't think anybody's naming their child Madison after Madison, Wisconsin.
No, they're naming their kids like Provolone.
Yeah. Provolone.
Cheese ball.
Yeah.
When did you get there? Yesterday?
I got here yesterday. Yep. Flew into Atlanta yesterday morning. Little shuttle down to Athens. Got settled in the Best Western here in Athens, Georgia. If anybody wants to come visit me, Athens.
Yo,
Best
man,
Western.
it looked like they've upgraded those Best Westerns.
It's not great. It's not great.
No.
It's one of those, comedy festival. They're like, we got a comedians rate at the Best Western. I was like, it's not a whole lot cheaper than if I just booked a Best Western, and it's not great, and it's not exactly in the middle of town. It's fine, but it's just like one of those things. Like they got like the vinyl hardwood flooring, the fake hardwood.
Yeah.
And got in last night, took off my shoes, and like started walking around bare feet. I was like, this feels like they maybe cleaned it with Windex or something like that. I was like, when it's polite to take your shoes off going to a place, I was like, I'm gonna wear my shoes straight until I get into bed. Put them on like I get out with slippers.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But it's fine. That. It's fine. Shout out to Athens Comedy Festival for the lodging, sort of the lodging discount.
You don't want to be going to Airbnb. You pay those cleaning fees.
Yeah. I'm not paying any cleaning fees here because I don't think they clean it often.
No, definitely not. I've been there. I've been to Athens.
Yeah, I'm assuming with the Frat Boys of Comedy.
I did a show there in fall of 2008. I had a great time. In fact, I said that Athens, and I don't know if this still holds. I thought it was like as far as girl wise, it was like one of the most beautiful college town, like the hottest chicks, man.
I've only been here a day. I haven't been out and about on campus or anything like that, but it's definitely not like a bad looking group of kids walking around. Also, yeah. I don't know. Like, I feel like if I was even just like 35, like my radar would be on differently. You have 45. You're just like, that's a child.
No, I agree. It's crazy. Everybody looks so young. In fact, that's where I coined the term after spending about a day and a half in Athens. I coined the term, especially with the college kids, the friendliest racist you'll ever meet.
Oh my God, yeah.
Very friendly, but definitely heard some racial slurs hanging around the frat house.
It was, I again haven't been in like the frat house or anything like that, but walked from the Best Western into into like Athens proper yesterday, because I was like, that's what I like to do when I get to a city I've never been to, if it's possible, if it's a walking city of any sort. And the guy at the front desk, he's like, you don't want to walk. And I was like, why? He's like, it's like 15 minutes, but it's all uphill coming back. And I was like, well, that means it's all downhill going, so I'll just go. And then also, these aren't mountains. We're talking about like a 25-degree grade for like a block and a half. I was like, I'll survive, sir. So I walked into town, and I walked by a car of dudes. There was 2 dudes sitting in a car, and then like 2 dudes outside of the car, like talking in their window. And the conversation that they were having loudly in public on a street was the most. It was Joe Prano and his buddies in a 6th grade locker room. There was gay, there was gay thrown around like 14. I walked by them for 8 seconds, and one dude accused the other dude of being gay for whatever, like 14 times, for like his shirt and his car and the music he was listening to. I was like, you guys okay?
Definitely frat boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that tracks.
I'm going to do a joke tonight, I think, about, I decided to play a drinking game yesterday, because I sat on the patio of a nice little bar, had a beer on the patio, and I was like, oh, I'm going to play a little, I got to get loose, play a little drinking game. I'm going to take a shot every time a dude bro drives by in a Toyota TRD Pro with his windows down, blasting Zach Bryan. 3 minutes and 26 shots later, I was like, it's time for a nap.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Now I forget, like what they got, like a main drag there, right? Of like bars and stuff.
They have a main. It's the downtown's not huge.
Yeah,
3 or 4 streets of kind of like a lot of stuff. But yeah, I walked what were kind of, I guess, I don't know if there's like a main drag. Like, I don't know. It seems like Broad Street is pretty, kind of runs through the town. But there's a couple of other things. And I did a loop through the 3 or 4 main streets, kind of up and down the town, saw all the things. I'm an REM fan, so I did some REM. I was like, let's find their Athens Walk of Fame plaque. Let's go see the steeple where they played their first show. Let's go.
So and I know their history, so they're all from there?
They're all from, well, they all went to school.
They all went to Georgia.
Yeah, I think, or majority of them. But okay. Michael Stipe was a patron of this little record store that's in town, and I forget which one of the other guys was working at the record store, and they hit it off at the record store, started a band, pulled in the other guys, everybody dropped out of school, yada yada yada. The rest is history.
Yeah, I just pulled up their Wikipedia.
So
REM was an American alternative rock band formed in Athens, Georgia in 1980 by drummer Bill Berry, guitarist Peter Buck, and bassist Mike Mills.
I think Bill Berry was working at the record store.
Yeah, and lead vocalist Michael Stipe, who were students at the University of Georgia.
Yeah. But going around town, not Athens, I don't know if I would say they're the kind of like they're certainly the most famous band to come out of Athens, but I think it kicked off a whole sort of scene here. Everybody also knows the B-52s. I probably feel...
Wait, the B-52s are Athens?
Yeah, I probably feel about the B-52s the opposite about how I feel about... I never needed another second of B-52s in my life, but they're also from here. But a lot of, you walk down the Athens Music Walk of Fame, drive-by truckers, also from here, apparently. Widespread Panic, pretty famous music town.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. They claim Neutral Milk Hotel, which I'm a big fan of. It seems like you do a deep dive. Seems like a weird claim. He's not on the Walk of Fame, obviously, because, again, passing claim, but.
So I just looked it up. REM has not done a studio album since 2011.
Yeah. They've been cordially broken up for a long time now.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And the theater where I'm performing tonight, if you're listening to this and still in or around Athens, Georgia, thinking about coming to the show, the theater I'm performing in tonight, Morton Theater, apparently was defunct for a while and was one of their rehearsal spaces. And there's a couple shots in one of their videos from inside the theater. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, look, for younger kids, REM was a huge part of like us growing up, especially teenage years.
Late 80s, early 90s. I mean, I would say from, 87 to 95 or whatever, like from Automatic for the People, Out of Mind, like all that stuff. They put out 3 albums in a row that were pretty massive.
I mean, you were getting, I'm trying to think of like my high school dances. You were getting, whether it was my school, going to an all guys school or some of the all girls schools dances going there, you were getting multiple REM songs to dance.
Yeah.
Even I'm saying, when I graduated 2000, like even in the late 90s, like they were a constant on the old radio too. They were huge, man. That's cool. I had a good time there from what I remember. See, the problem is I was really drunk most of that.
Yeah.
So it's like
seems like a fun town to get drunk in. I got a little drunk last night, but not crazy.
Well, I remember at the time when I was there and when we did the show, the joke was like I was out the bars partying with the girls and the guys, and I ended up like making out with some girl and like hitting a few bars with her. And my buddy was joking. He's like, classic Ruther. Like, you're in Athens, Georgia. You find like the one, she was a Jewish girl. She's like, you find the Jewish girl, like classic Ruther. Like, always ended up with the Jewish girl, which like you wouldn't think there'd be that many Jewish girls in Athens, Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be completely wrong.
No, I'm assuming you're right, that there's not a ton.
I think that night ended with the frat kids. We were wasted and we got one of those kids' SUVs and we went to Checkers.
Yeah. I mean, that seems like it is the entire vibe here is white dudes, with floppy hair with a ball cap over it in an SUV or a pickup truck.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when I walked from where I am into town and I ended up walking, to where that record store is. And then there's like a main drag there that's all like blocked off, one of those like main streets that's blocked off and has seating and whatever. People sit outside. Right by the north end of the campus, I guess it is, and that archway that is famous for, they show you, if you're watch a Georgia game on ESPN or whatever. I walked by 25 different groups of people. No joke, 25 different groups of people for 0.8 miles carrying Chick-fil-A bags. And then that main drag, there's just a Chick-fil-A with like an outdoor window, and it was just college students lined up for some Chick-fil-A. And I assume every TRD pro that drove by was also dudes with Chick-fil-A calling each other gay.
I said the Chick-fil-A. I mean, I've said it time and time again. Like, I think it's way overhyped.
Well, it's for sure overhyped. Like, it's fine and it's good. Like,
yeah,
it's not.
Fine.
I'm not like it's bad, but yeah, they act. It's like a literal religion.
No, it really is. It's kind of interesting. So when I go there, I'm actually now remembering this to kind of pivot to some sports. When I go in there in fall of 2008, USC was number 1, and they get upset that weekend by see if my memory serves me correct. I think Oregon State. So then Georgia slides, and this is Matthew Stafford, Georgia, if I believe. I think it is his last season there. They slide into the number 1. And then Nick Saban, was this his first year with Bama? They win in Georgia, and then they win their first title. Like nobody.
This is while you're here that weekend?
No, but that's how the season played out. And I just remember all the frat kids were talking a big game. They were rooting against SC. And
I mean, everything here
is Georgia. That's what I'm saying.
Is Georgia football. Everything. Like, you're walking through that, like everything. Everybody, in town. I took an Uber to my show last night, I didn't do a show last night, but to the show last night, the kickoff show and whatever. And I'm like, is there anything like is must see, must do in town? The guy's like, you a football fan? I was like, yeah. He's like, you got to go to the stadium. I was like, but they're not playing. He's like, no, but you got to see it. It'll blow your mind. And I was like, I don't think it'll blow my mind. I think it's a football stadium, but like, okay. It's like, you got to go. You got to go to the stadium. It'll blow your mind. And I was like, all right, I probably won't, but thanks.
Yeah, I'm correct. They were actually number one. USC was not number one. They were number one to start the year. I guess they weren't blowing teams out. They slid down to number 3 before they lost to Bama. Oh, here's some names for you. Yeah, Stafford was the quarterback. Wow, bro, they were stacked. Prano, listen to this roster. Stafford's their starting quarterback. No Sean Moreno is their starting running back, and AJ Green is the lead receiver.
Yeah.
I mean that's a squad right there.
Yeah.
As far as your 3 top skill positions. I mean, look at him now, man. Super Bowl winner. Kelly Stafford. I don't even think she was dating him back then, because didn't she date the backup and then she went to him or something?
I don't know. I remember that thing on social media, but I don't know the timing of it.
Yeah, something.
You're talking about years. I'm like, bro, 2007 is a blur to me.
2008. Yeah.
Still.
I have, like, my friends call me autistic with this. They call me my Rain Man memory. It's weird. Like, I have a memory with this stuff, but then I'll forget to, like,
RFK is like, did you say you're autistic? What's your name? Where do you live? Address would be fine.
But then, like, I'll just forget something so stupid. It's really weird how it works. Let's talk some NBA playoffs.
Let's do it. I'll tell you. Last night, there's a lot of. Did you
get to watch that Knicks game?
What's that?
Did you get to watch that Knicks game?
Yeah, so I watched the second half, which
wild game, huh?
The game's going on. I went and I checked out the kickoff show, and I'm checking the score from my phone, and it's pretty much like a 10-point game. Like, for the majority, like, from the middle of the second quarter, early second quarter on, it's like a 10-point game. And so I'm like, I want to go watch it, but I want to support and whatever. So I'm kind of checking it in. They go to halftime, and I was just like, this series, there's been a lot of 10, 12-point runs. I was like, I'm going to bounce on the show. It's almost over. I feel like I've supported. I'm going to go watch the second half of this game. So I walk out, and, there's so much talk about the NBA and ratings and do people care? Obviously, the ratings this postseason have been fantastic. The opening weekend of the playoffs was massive. I don't know, maybe it's the lack of wokeness this year or whatever. But this is a great example of, like, the type of people who don't watch the NBA anymore. I walk out, there's a bar across the street, huge TVs, like 6 TVs, one of them big screen. It's like they got UFC on, hockey, the golf channel's on one thing. And I'm like, there's an NBA playoff game on. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And then I was just like, I'm not going to be the guy who goes in and tries to, like, get them to put some other shit on. Like, it's the NBA playoffs. This is a college town. There's a lot of bars, a lot of TVs. I'll just keep walking. Next bar, same thing, like, no game on. I'm like, is this like a fucking we hate the NBA kind of fucking thing or what? So I walk up past the third place, and I'm peeking in, and a waiter walks by with a tray. He's like, there's like 2 sides to the restaurant, and the front door is there. And he's walking by the front door, Jalen Brunson jersey. And I walk in, I was like, I'm assuming this game is on. He's like, oh yeah. And I was like, great. So I pop into the bar and watch the second half. Turns out this kid's parents are from, like, Queens, and he's a Knicks fan and whatever. And so second half of the game at this bar, wild. I mean, when I sat down, I think it was an 11-point Knicks lead. Goes all the way up, I think, to a 9-point, 8 or 9-point Pistons lead before it comes down to the Jalen Brunson double bang game winner.
It was insane, man. Like that move. I'm like,
The move before the move that got the guy off him for the final shot.
yeah.
I mean, ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like how the crazy without like we're not talking about this like Allen Iverson, like big fucking this Kyrie everything, but he got himself 12 feet of separation. Like
So
he had a guy on him. The guy goes unpicked, and he gets a wide open top of the key three. Bang.
So like I'm watching it in our TV room, and like I'm being pretty verbal at the end of the game, just like whoa, shit. No, not just that play. I'm just like, wow, this
He's like,
game's
so you're a verbal autistic. Okay,
Yeah.
again, your TV room is located where?
so I'm just like kind of going nuts. And then he hits that play, and I'm going, holy shit, that is insane. And Brittany looked up, she was doing the dishes, right? And it's all just an open room. She's like, but you'll love us. She goes, I go, oh my God, that's insane. The movie just did. And she just goes, she has no clue about any of these guys. She just goes, he doesn't look like a basketball player.
Yeah.
And I go, that's why it's even better. Like, you look at this guy's build, Jalen Brunson, he doesn't look like one. And of course, she's like, I need to see it now. I go, I'm going to rewind it. Watch the move he puts to get the separation, and just with just perfection, nothing but net.
Yeah.
Just drains it.
Brunson's insane. I mean, you go back even a couple plays before that where Steve Nash is under the basket, doesn't pick up his dribble, goes back under the basket.
How do you not travel?
Gets the bump separation bucket under. They were at the wide shot when he put that one in, and I'm watching from a bar, 12 feet away. I was like, what side of the hoop did that go in?
You can't even hear. Grant Hill was commenting. He's like, just watch this, man. Of course they are playing replays. He's like, just watch the footwork, how he moves his body. It's and he's a little guy, and it's just he's just so good at that.
Yeah, he's incredible. Listen, now we go Knicks Celtics. I don't have a high hope for this Knicks Celtics series for a couple reasons, but the Knicks get a little bit Brunson heavy, but at the same time, that's why I don't think this Knicks team is built to win a championship this year, is because they get a little Brunson heavy at times. I would like to see the ball move a little bit more in the crunch time and not be so, Brunson or bust. But at the same point, no one else is doing it right now. Like at this point, the only other guy I want to see taking a shot in a big moment is OG Anunoby if Brunson, goes to the basket and he's left open for a three. Mikal Bridges had a big game the other night, but it's too hot and cold. He misses too many shots that, could seal the deal. Mikal Bridges is like Sean Livingston if he made only half of those fall away mid-rangers. We're missing Dante DiVincenzo. Deuce McBride has just not become what I think they were hoping he would become in feeling okay letting go of DiVincenzo. I think they were thinking, yeah, DiVincenzo does this for us, but his money will help us make this cat deal go, and McBride can grow into being him. He has not grown into being DiVincenzo. And obviously the Hartenstein thing, I realized that they had to let him go for financial reasons, but that's before you go, well, not if you got rid of Julius Randle, which obviously they did to bring in Cat, and they make that money work. But I just feel like if there's a way to figure out the finances to go, we're going to get rid of Randle and keep Hartenstein. If that had been sort of prioritized instead of we're going to let Hartenstein go and now try to figure out a way to fill the five, they would have been better off. Cat obviously had a huge game in the series, but fouls out last night, I think, with 10 points.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game yesterday.
I believe so much in Jalen Brunson, but I just think that the Celtics are too good and too deep. I don't think that they're going to be able to stop Jalen Brunson from doing this kind of thing to them. I just wouldn't be surprised if we don't have if those huge fourth quarters and those 40-point games are chasing Celtics teams that they're down by 10 or down by 12. To me, this series was there. The Pistons are young and tough, and I think everybody expected a good series, but letting the Pistons go on these big runs, like you let the Celtics go on those runs, those aren't going to be 12-point runs. They're going to be 20-point runs. And we've seen that in the multiple games the Knicks have played against the Celtics this season, where it's like, oh, it's a tie game with 5 minutes left and you lose by 14. So I don't have high hopes, but if there was one guy who could do it, it's Brunson. And let's see if he just takes his playoff legend to another level in this next series, which they'll need. But my God, his playoff legend is growing like at an insane rate. I mean, he's doing stuff in the fourth quarter and in scoring and assist games that no one's done before in NBA history.
Remind me again, they went, how far did they go last year?
They lost in the second round in 7 to the Pacers in a series where they lost everybody.
That's right. And the year before, did they make the Eastern Conference Finals?
No, the year before they lost in the first round of the Heat.
Okay.
I believe.
Gotcha. So, like, the next step for them is the Eastern Conference Finals as far as progress.
That's which be. This year, this year tough. You think you kind of pencil in, listen, this Cavs team has been amazing. And everybody is like sleepy on the Pacers in that series, and I am not. I think that the Cavs are too good. I think it'll be a good series, but I don't think the Pacers are going to win that series. And you look at the East going into the season, especially with what happened last year, and you're like, oh, well, if the Knicks are the 2 seed or the 3 seed, right, then they don't have to play Boston until the Eastern Conference Finals. Then Cleveland goes on, to have the season that they had, and now all of a sudden, as the 3 seed, you've got to have Boston in the second round.
Yeah,
and so that's like last year, had they not gotten injured, and not to take anything away from the Pacers, but I think a series going 7 where essentially everyone on the team of substance gets hurt. Safe to say the Knicks, a healthy Knicks team prevails, but it didn't happen. Now this year, we also don't get a chance at Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals because Cleveland was so good. And as good as Cleveland has been, and as dominant as they were in their first round, as a Knicks fan, I'd still rather play Cleveland right now than play Boston.
Will Halliburton's dad try to fight somebody the next series?
So weird.
Well, I don't understand. Like, what was that? I've complained about it. Like, what's up with these parents and these spouses? Just like root for your significant other or your child.
This is I don't give a fuck about the Pacers-Knicks rivalry. That was 30 years ago, dude. Last year, again, I don't think we get a fair shot in that series. And Pacers fans cry about that all you want. I don't care. Tyrese Halliburton has some sort of chip on his shoulder because he was voted the most overrated player in the NBA or whatever. It's like, I don't even think Tyrese Halliburton is overrated because I think the majority of basketball heads don't hold him in that high regard.
Yeah.
So you might be overrated, in terms of the population of Earth or whatever, but people who really fucking love the NBA don't rate Tyrese Halliburton that high. And fairly, he's a great player, but Tyrese Halliburton is the ultimate front runner. The dude loves talking shit when his team's up 12 or 14. He loves disappearing in close games in games where the Pacers don't come out and kick your ass. Don't worry about Tyrese Halliburton coming back from a 14-point game to put the team on his back though. And it's you talk about last year, oh, you guys don't even have the best player in the series. Jalen Brunson takes shits every day that are better at basketball than Tyrese Halliburton. And the truth of the matter is, it's cool, talk your shit, but also when people go, who the fuck are you? Take a seat. You notice he waits till after a game, fucking whatever, to fire off his tweet. And his dad waits until after the series is over to get in Giannis's face. It's like this weird fucking attitude and chip on your shoulder and whatever. It's like, dude, you're in the NBA and you're making millions of dollars. Like, you're good at basketball, but also calm the fuck down.
Yeah, and if you're a parent, it's not, you're not the one playing. You're not the one playing. Like these people, and I've complained about it before, like, especially when these people want to interject themselves on social media. It's like, I don't really care what your mom thinks. I just don't care. You're not playing. People are like, oh, look, it's mom. Like, who gives a shit? I don't care what Draymond Green's mom thinks. I don't care.
I think in that situation of his dad going up, I think anytime you have a parent, especially like in person doing this thing, I think every parent of an athlete should be treated by athletes like Pedro Martinez treated Don Zimmer. Just take his head and be like, get out of here, old person.
Yeah.
Like, Tyrese Halliburton's dad should have just gotten the fucking Zimmer. Just get fucked, bro.
Yeah.
People acted like that was so. I mean, remember at the time, people being like, what the fuck is wrong with Pedro Martinez? What the fuck is wrong with Don Zimmer even participating in this altercation?
Yeah.
Like, you are an old man. Stay on the fucking bench, old man, or else I'm going to throw you by your head.
That was so. I remember watching that live.
It's the greatest thing ever.
That was great, man.
It's the greatest thing ever. I think it's how we generally, as a society, should treat the boomers who have ruined society as we know it.
It's like, get out of my face, man.
They're like, oh, you can't afford a house because you're spending all your money on avocado toast. It's like, no, I can't afford a house because you refuse to get out of the fucking workspace. And you guys have bought 7 houses when fucking Reagan was president. And now you've turned them all into Airbnbs where you charge $600 cleaning fees.
Dude.
I just want to grab you by your boomer head and throw you down a hill.
They refused to sell them. They're like, we're holding on to this asset till we die.
Yeah.
That's the boomer move.
Yeah.
By the way, that's one of the reasons the housing market's so insane.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you could just downgrade to a condo.
Yeah. Because some boomer, when he was in his 40s and the economy was booming.
40s, more like those guys bought those houses in their 20s.
Yeah.
When the house cost nothing.
Yeah, but even in the late 80s, like, we should get a beach house on the Outer Banks, and now his fucking Karen wife has filled it with home goods shit and is Airbnb-ing it to you and me for $600 a day.
Oh, I know.
If we want to go hang out with friends, isn't this great? Also, the cleaning fee will be $14,000, which we'll give to Irma, our Mexican maid. We'll give her $140 of, and the rest we'll pocket.
It sounds like Prano was. He didn't. It sounds like Prano was listening to the Andy Ruther show.
I don't know.
It's literally what I was ranting about yesterday. The fees, and that's what I was saying. I was like, That's literally what I said. I said, you're not paying any more to the El Salvadorian or Guatemalan housekeeper. You can keep it all for yourselves, you greedy fucks.
Did you see this news? This Greg Popovich news?
It's on the rundown.
Okay, I didn't see it until right now. I just got ESPN.
Yeah, he's stepping down.
Crazy.
Well, it's health. I mean, he's old.
Yeah.
He's not young.
Yeah. See, boomers, just step down.
So he will he remains with the team though. Let's see here.
Did they announce who will be the head coach?
He'll remain with the team as the president of basketball operations. The coach will be who is their interim coach? It's that guy.
Okay.
Who is that guy? Who is that guy? Johnson. What's his first name? Big? What's Johnson's first name? Johnson led the Spurs to a 31-45 record. He's been with the team for 10 years. What's Johnson's first name?
It's not Avery Johnson.
Mitch Johnson.
Mitch Johnson. Mitch Johnson. That's a porn name.
Yeah. That's a great porn name.
Mitch Johnson.
That's a great porn name.
Porn name is your dad's middle name and Johnson. Everybody just like street name and whatever. It's like, let's be honest. It's just
what was the porn name? It was the street you grew up on and your middle name.
Yeah.
So mine would be Thomas Hidden Hills.
Yeah.
So mine's not a porn name. Mine's a kid's character name.
Yeah.
Like a cartoon. Thomas Hidden Hills coming here. Hey.
He's Miss Rachel's new co-host.
Yeah, he'd be a train or something. We're off Miss Rachel, by the way.
We're off Miss Rachel because she supports Palestine.
Yeah. We
are you? No, that's not why you're off.
Oh, what'd you say about Israel Palestine?
Because Miss Rachel supports Palestine, supports a free Palestine or whatever.
Oh, I didn't even see that. No.
Yeah, there was a whole that was like a whole thing for a minute. I'm not letting my kids watch Miss Rachel anymore. I was like, okay.
That's pretty funny that people that would be the thing. Like of all the things. No, because she's just too addictive. Like that's the only
for you, not for your kids.
Like
you're addicted to Miss Rachel is what I'm saying.
No.
No, your kids are.
As in like meltdown. Like
she's
she's
heroin.
Only,
if you take away the kids Miss Rachel, they just like go into
Whereas like Mickey Mouse or any other stuff, Disney or any other YouTube, it's not an issue. Okay, we're gonna have dinner. Miss Rachel's like full. I don't know. Again, she's doing something right. Full blown.
They should have like a Miss Rachel Lite, and they should just call it Miss Adone, and it's like methadone for Miss Rachel, so you can wean yourself off of Miss Rachel. Where the episodes are just like 4 minutes long.
Oh yeah, man. Like it's like, you know, it's like the kids when they get possessed and they throw themselves on the floor. And I'm like, I can't deal with that. But yeah, she's doing it right. She's doing it right. I'll tell you that much. But I don't even know how we got started talking about this.
I don't either.
John Popovich,
Mitch Johnson.
Popovich, Mitch Johnson. Well, Mitch Johnson will be taking over, and Pop is gonna. You know, it's funny. You say just retire that. Like you're still.
Yeah, but also like, I feel like the president of basketball operations, when you're a head coach for a basketball team, and you're watching film every day, and you got to run practice, and you got to travel with the team, you go whatever. Like, he just went from an on the road, living out of a van sales job to remote head of sales. Like he may as well be retired.
Okay.
He's going to have to what? Like, you know, keep his eye on fucking buyout options and, you know, the occasional trade thing, watch a little bit of college basketball for draft purposes. Like, you know, be aware of guys who might hit the waiver wire that could help them, scout a little European basketball, all of which he was already doing. And just, you're taking a ton of travel, a ton of pregame prep, a ton of actual physical, like, game coaching. This is the easiest transition ever for him. It's probably better. He would probably go crazy if he was fully retired, because he'd be like, how many crossword puzzles can a guy do in a day?
Yeah, true. I mean, look, I don't know how. Obviously, he's one of the greatest. I think you think he's the greatest coach of all time. I think.
Yeah, I do. From and listen, what I think about Popovich, and I've argued Pat Riley is right there, which is why it makes so much sense for Popovich to slide into a role that Pat Riley slid into forever ago, which is like, all right, I'm just going to focus on like running this organization from the top down. Is those guys just do something on a level of being a coach and an executive that I think is, you know, Bill Belichick like in the NBA, whereas like, oh, Phil Jackson, you know, won a bunch of championships while having the best player at the time in the world and was this ego manager. It's like, cool, you are, you know, a great fucking prison warden where you figured out how to like manage all the inmates of the asylum or whatever. And Greg Popovich or Pat Riley is like the governor of the state.
I would disagree.
Okay.
I mean, just the sheer numbers. Like this is where titles do. Like Phil,
and then you got Red Auerbach. 1, Phil 2, or
No, because I can't vouch for somebody before my time.
okay.
So like this the same way I don't comment on Wilt Chamberlain or even Kareem or whoever. I'm just like, or Willie Mays. I'm like, I don't know these guys. I don't know. Like in my lifetime, I'm saying Phil to mesh. And I'm not saying Pop couldn't, but like look at those Bulls and Lakers. Like to get those guys to play. And obviously he had his methods and look, they're both great coaches. You can't go wrong either
But also
way.
think about on either side of those, on either side of the Lakers three-peat. Basically, between the Bulls and the Lakers, Pop wins a title. After the Lakers three-peat, Pop gets multiple titles. Pop gets more titles. Like you're looking at a guy who's like, oh, and Tim Duncan, no doubt about it, was great. But look at the guys that he was doing. Look at what he made out of the Tony Parkers, the Manu Ginobili's, and I mean, you look at, what Kawhi is able to do now. Who the fuck was Kawhi Leonard? Whereas when Phil Jackson didn't have the single, no doubt about it, far and away best player in the world, he has 2 titles.
Those last two, 2009-10 with Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's an argument to be made for sure. But like, I don't know, just, and maybe that's just part of, again, maybe nostalgia of growing up, especially with those Bulls squads. But like, those are some. Here's the thing: Tim Duncan is great. I'd argue the most underrated basketball player ever. He's not a Shaq as far as a personality that you gotta channel. A Kobe, Tony Parker's not that. Manu Ginobili. Now you could argue the other way and say, well, he was smart enough. He had the insight enough to get these type of guys to put him into a system, and that's an argument for Pop as well. How many does Pop have? 6?
5?
5?
I think.
Well, Duncan has 5.
Yeah. Did he get? Did any of them come post Duncan?
No, I don't think
any
so.
of them came post Duncan. Some of them came end of Duncan, where Duncan wasn't the best player on the squad.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Kawhi, we're gonna have a game 7.
The best series by far in terms of just viewing enjoyment. A back and forth series. Yeah. Great players, having great personal games. A lot of people who think the winner of that series might be the one that gives OKC the best shot. I was on Denver. I was on Denver in 7. That was my prediction. And then I was just like, man, I didn't think about the fact that, again, they have all this, they have playoff experience, they have championship experience or whatever, but the head coach doesn't. And then I was like, will that come into play in a game 7 where all of a sudden we have, essentially an interim coach? But then the flip side of that coin is that the Clippers are the Clippers. But I don't know. It's a coin flip. Like, again, I said I thought the Clippers win, I think, last episode, but I called Denver to start. I'm on the fence. I'm leaning sort of Denver, but it really doesn't matter at this point. We're getting the game 7, and it's been the most enjoyable series. I didn't get to watch a ton of it last night. I watched most of the first half into the third quarter. I was just so spent from traveling and being on a different time zone that last night I was like, I can't hold my eyes open anymore. I'm going to bed.
Well, Steve Ballmer is, I talked about a 2-year-old going psycho. That's Steve Ballmer.
Yeah.
Like, he's equivalent of a 2-year-old when Miss Rachel's turned off. What is wrong with him?
RFK is again like, Steve, your primary home is where? What's your primary residence? The address? What's the zip code there? Steve Ballmer's clearly autistic, right?
I don't know.
I think so. I think everything about
Or
Steve,
is he just on drugs?
I'm surprised Steve Ballmer doesn't have to wear the earmuffs like my nephew wore to the fucking Mets game the other night. Just to sit in the front row and go crazy. He's like, but also I don't like loud noises.
How old's your nephew?
5. About to be 5. Went to his first Mets game the other night.
What do you think?
He loved it.
So is that like it's a noise thing?
Noise thing, autism thing, noise
So
thing.
He's like my nephew.
Yeah.
Who's autistic.
And we brought his earmuffs, and he's walking in, and I was like to my sister, I was like, is this like necessary? And she's like, you're gonna need them. And then like we walk in, I drove him down. We met his dad down there who was down toward the city for work. I'm telling him all about things. He's so excited. He's walking out. I told him we were like hanging around my sister's house during the day. And I was like, all right, this is what you need to know. I'm telling him about the apple that's going to come out if you see a home run. And everybody's going to chant, let's go Mets. And Pete Alonso is the polar bear. And Mr. Met has a baseball head and like all this stuff. We pull up. He's like, I see Mr. Met. And I was like, what? He's like, he's on the side of the stadium. And I was like, hey, he's like, I love Mr. Met. I was like, all right. And then he's so funny. We're walking in. He's like, city isn't spelled with a Y. It's C-I-T, or isn't spelled with an I. It's C-I-T-Y. City. And I was like, yeah, that's good. I was like, that's the name of a bank, City. And then corporate sponsorship, they sponsor the stadium. And then he's outside. He's like, so the stadium's inside the bank? And I was like, in a way, yes. In a way, the stadium is the bank, but we'll save that for another time. So we get inside and we're walking through the stadium, like we're walking through the halls and the promenade, whatever. We start going down to the actual seats, and he's like, just like covers his ears fully. And I was like, looks like it's time for those earmuffs.
Yeah, we had the same problem with my nephew when we went to I was with him for his first Reds game. Same thing. He couldn't handle it. But you know what they offer at Great American Ballpark, and credit to them. They're very family friendly. They have rooms for that.
Wow.
Yeah, like they literally like kids who can't handle the sensory, the noise, like giant rooms. You like just go in.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And listen, Steve Cohen, I was telling my brother-in-law, who was like, I haven't been to the field since your first pitch. And I was like, when I say it is a totally different experience, bro. He's like, how? It's the same stadium. I was like, the dude literally doubled the size of the screen. He was like, take that screen down and double it. And now, there's a light show. When the fucking apple comes out of the hat, there's smoke. There's like it is a totally different. He's going full like NBA arena experience at a baseball game. Every time there was a pitching change for the other team, it gets like whoa, 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 whoa. And yeah, so I was like, this is gonna be sensory overload to the max. But he loved it. He ate all the things. Got there, wanted a pretzel, Cracker Jacks, peanuts, hot dog.
Wow, that's like
cotton candy.
That's like
ice cream helmet.
That's like your traditional baseball, like old school growing up menu.
Yeah. He wanted a pretzel. He was like, when we get inside, I want a pretzel. I was like, we'll get you a pretzel. He wanted a pretzel, and he wanted ice cream in a helmet at the end. And I was like, all right, just like pace yourself. Because we call my other nephew, who's now, I guess he's like 12, I think. We call him Poop Vomit because he ate so much he once pooped and vomited simultaneously. So
his nickname is Poop Vomit.
Yeah, his nickname is Poop Vomit. And now every time we go out to a restaurant, I'm like, take it easy, Poop Vomit. We don't need you poop vomiting. And he's like, I only poop vomited one time.
PV.
Yeah. So he wanted.
Mikey's got a 12-year-old?
Yeah.
A 12-year-old.
Yeah. Who by the way is like I trust him more than Mel Kiper. I was like, how'd the Giants do? He's like, A-. I'm like, all right. Yeah, so the kid got a pretzel. He wanted a pretzel, and then he was like, what did he say he wanted next? he was like, I think he was like, I want a hot dog. But then as we were like going to go get a hot dog, cotton candy came by. And he's like, cotton candy. I was like, yeah, we can get you some cotton candy. So we got him some cotton candy. And then I was like, hey, we should go out and like hit some wiffle balls in the little stadium. And then I was like, oh, we should get him some Cracker Jacks. Like, you know, you got to get kids Cracker Jacks. Like, and he's like, what's Cracker Jacks? I was like, popcorn covered in caramel. There's a toy inside. You're going to love it. Did that. Then we went and got him a hot dog and he hit some wiffle balls and then came back to the seat, got some peanuts. And I was like, all right, now we're just going for it. And then he got his ice cream helmet.
He didn't get the Majid nacho helmets.
No.
The Majid.
But I did have to go. I did have to go to the bathroom and Majid out the helmet. I had to like clean out the helmet with the sink and the napkin so the helmet could come home with us.
They should have a BYOH. Bring your own helmet.
Yeah, yeah.
So if like you eat the helmet, you can bring it back.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing back my helmet for some ice cream, for some nachos.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good memory for him.
Yeah, it was cool. And we made him a sign for the game. I made him an LFGM sign, and it just said, "Loving my first game, go Mets." And then LFGM down one side.
Did they win or lose?
They lost.
But
you know what? He did great. He was up way later than he should have been, and made it all the way until literally the middle of the ninth, and then was like, "I want to go home." And I was like, all right, well, thank God we have 2 cars. Get the kid out of here. I'm not leaving.
Bye.
So shout out to the Mets for the tickets and the experience.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's a good experience, man.
Anyway, back to basketball.
Yeah, back to basketball. Okay, we got game 7 for the Nuggets Clippers. We got the Lakers got their ass kicked.
That series did not
got their ass kicked.
That series didn't not only go the way I thought it would, but also obviously, listen, it's still a fantastic trade for the Lakers to get Luka. I don't think the Anthony Davis era was like going to be the next era of Lakers basketball. But Luka, a disappointing series, man. Did not take over. Everybody, of course, wants to shit on LeBron. And that's like, you can't have it both ways. Oh, Michael Jordan would never lose. Kobe Bryant would never lose with the top 3 player in basketball. And I'm like, why are we talking about LeBron? Why aren't we talking about Luka? Why aren't we talking about what Luka did in this series? Which, again, I said when we were previewing the series and early on in the series when it was 1-1, I was like, Luka is just going to hunt off of pick and rolls. They really didn't do that. I mean, props again to Minnesota for a defensive strategy, but there's nothing you can do to stop that. And he didn't take advantage of it. He was the anti-Brunson in, hey, give me the ball, set a pick so I can get the matchup I want, and let me cook in the fourth quarter. He really didn't do that.
I saw a funny video. I'm not going to play it, but I saw a funny video. It's like a 3-minute, because it's a 3-minute highlight video. And the caption, it was just a highlight video of Luka. And it shows him like,
the refs?
No, but it shows him like driving down the lane, slamming it home, all these just like high fly. And it said Luka before he started eating American food.
Yeah.
And it is funny to see how much slimmer he is, man.
Yeah.
Like you got to get it. He's got to get it together. It's not a good look. I mean, I know what you're saying. It's not a good look for LeBron, though. It's not. Like you got. I don't know. And I know there's obviously always going to be Jordan.
Well,
Brock.
Again, this is to me, and I've said this to multiple people on all the social media apps. Everybody's proving why LeBron is the GOAT with these conversations. You're proving why. You're trying to argue that this is some knock on LeBron's legacy and that LeBron did this and LeBron that. You're proving why LeBron is the GOAT by being like 40-year-old LeBron didn't carry them to the second round. Meanwhile, for everybody else, it was like 38-year-old Kobe Bryant is playing exhibition games where the Utah Jazz let him score. And 40-year-old Michael Jordan, they're like, he wasn't trying to win. He came back to build that franchise and sell tickets. Like, what are we talking about? We're now at the point where, like, you're arguing LeBron is the GOAT because you actually expected the 40-year-old LeBron to be better than leading the team to the third best record in the West, getting the team to the playoffs, playing pretty fucking well in terms of statistically, and then not essentially single-handedly being able to carry them past an upstart Minnesota team. This is why LeBron is the GOAT, not why LeBron isn't the GOAT, because your expectations were 27, 8-8. Where's 35, 12-12 LeBron? And it's like, I don't know. It's 40.
Yeah. It's just like, it's a real downer to not win at least one series. Not that nobody thought that they were going to
Win the title.
Win the title. Luka was very disappointing.
That's what to me, again, that's
he's been pretty disappointing since the trade.
I don't know if he's been pretty disappointing since the trade because he certainly had real spurts of greatness. But listen, I'm a Luka fan. I became less of a Luka fan when I went to that game and watched how much he bitched at the refs. But again, like, if you're going to make an argument that Luka is a top 3 player in the NBA, which you certainly could argue at any given moment, right? And you certainly could, no doubt about, make a great argument for last year when he was on the Mavericks and take them to the NBA Finals. This Lakers team isn't bad. He wasn't dragging a bad team to the third seed. LeBron James wasn't bad. LeBron James is pretty good. And everybody wants to talk to, Michael Jordan would never, Kobe Bryant would never, with the third best player in the world. It's like, but what about, like, he didn't play like he was the third best player in the world. So why, like, we're acting like LeBron had, Luka going off every night and he let this team down, where I would argue, how great is Luka where he gets paired with LeBron and this is what happens? Meanwhile, look at what Anthony Edwards did. Look at what SGA is doing. Look at what, even in a 3-3 series, Jokic is doing. Look at what Kawhi is doing when he's healthy. Look at the Jason Tatum Celtics. Like, I know year in and year out, like, you can't just, like, be counted on. Look at Steph Curry. But, like, I know he went to the finals last year, but it's like, this team, top to bottom, might not be as deep as last year's Mavs team, but Luka just didn't do it. Like, Luka just didn't do against the Timberwolves what he did against the Timberwolves last year.
That's true. That's a good point. What do you think about them moving forward, Minnesota?
In the playoffs, or just like long term?
In the playoffs.
Well, listen, they have a guy who's, low key making an argument for being one of the best players in basketball. Last year, he ran out of gas. Now you're like, why did he run out of gas? He's, like, young, and is there a gas to run out of? And I think that, the NBA is just so great that, like, these coaching staffs are so great where, again, like, props to Minnesota for adjusting against the Lakers to handle Luka in a wildly different fashion than they handled him last year and lost. So now, as teams, as the Timberwolves go on in the playoffs, is Anthony Edwards going to be able to take the way teams adjust to guarding him and be great? Because you look at the guys who are the true great players of all time. You look at the LeBrons, the Jordans, the Tim Duncans, the Shaq, of our modern era. How you guys are attacking them doesn't matter. They're going to fucking dominate. It's going to be what is everybody else doing?
Yeah.
And the Minnesota Timberwolves have a chance to be anything, a championship team if they can do everything that they're doing as a team and he can continue to dominate. If his game elevates more and more and more and more and more throughout the thing. Like, again, I think the Knicks aren't as good as they were last year because their team isn't as deep as it was last year. They don't have, a center, a true guy that you can count on as a crunch time center like they did in Hartenstein. They don't have another playmaker like they did last year with DiVincenzo. But the counterpoint to that is do whatever you want. Put prime Kawhi Leonard on the other team with 4 pit bulls. Jalen Brunson's scoring 30. Scoring 30, dominating the fourth quarter. It's happening. Anthony Edwards is young and elite and has taken his shooting to a new level. They could be a championship team if he's like, that's what you're getting every series. I've reached my prime. I've reached the Steph Curry, the LeBron, the Jordan, I am an immovable object. I am just going to be this, which is, again, not what Luka was in this Lakers series.
Yeah.
It wasn't. And that's the NBA. The NBA is a star-driven league. Last year, Anthony Edwards wasn't able to do it throughout the playoffs from start to finish. If he does this year, they have a good defense. They have a 3 or 4-time defensive player of the year in the middle who had an insane game 5.
Yeah, he played great offensively.
And
all those rebounds.
So big.
Yeah.
So big. I don't think that they're going to win the championship, but that is their ceiling if you have a guy in the best player on your squad that is able to just lose his mind. That is what has happened with all of the guys that we just talked about. Like the first Warriors run coincided with the Steph Curry first MVP run. You look at what Shaq was able to, Shaq goes to a finals in the East, goes to the Lakers, and then it's, I'm the best player in the world. Championship. We saw what Jordan did. We saw what LeBron goes to a decade's worth of finals by himself, essentially, at times. Like, Anthony Edwards has that kind of talent and in this series, he was the best player in the series, in a series with Luka and LeBron. Now, again, LeBron's 40 years old. And that's not me. Like, again, the conversation about LeBron and legacy is like, if Michael Jordan came back today at 60 whatever, right, and was able to make an NBA team and was able to be productive on that NBA team and was able to get that team in the playoffs, you'd be like, this dude is the fucking GOAT. He's playing in the NBA at 60. He's effective. He got the team to the playoffs. Well, they lost. Yeah, but he's 60, bro. Like, it wouldn't hurt Michael Jordan's legacy to come back. Just the same way this shouldn't hurt LeBron James' legacy that he's still an elite basketball player at 40.
The legacy, that talk is, everybody has their opinions at this point.
Yeah, but I'm just saying those opinions are dumb.
Well, that's fine. And that's fair. I'm just saying, it's not hurting.
My point is Anthony Edwards was the best player in this series.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he should have been, but he was. And if he is the best player, if he can be the best player in every series he plays, they have a chance of winning the title.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, I have some advice for Luka. Like, Luka, we're talking about, your habits. I think here's what Luka needs to do. Take it back a notch. Some of the American food. I get it. It's good, nice, fatty food. There's heavy beer. Get off the heavy beers. Get out of some Miller Lite. I know you're big on this. Just 96 calories and 3.2 carbs.
That's right. Now, Andy, did you see my post about it?
I did. You were celebrating Miller Lite 50th anniversary at
And
the
Miller
Mets game.
Lite reposted me on their story, which was, a true honor. I did not know that I didn't even know this was a thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I just talked to you about it. I feel like maybe they went a couple months into the year before they really leaned into the 50th anniversary thing.
That's
But all
correct.
of a sudden, 50th anniversary, one of the GOATs, Christopher Walken, doing the Miller Lite ads all of a sudden. I mean, you want to talk about getting the celebrity voiceover. This is why Miller Lite is. You want to talk about there's LeBron, Jordan conversations. There's Brady, Montana, Peyton questions. There's Bonds, Babe Ruth. There's no question in the beer chatter. There's only one GOAT, and that's Miller Lite. And then they go ahead and they get Christopher Walken doing the voiceovers. So I go to the ballpark the other night, and we've talked about it. I was like, got to get me that Miller Lite. Go there. I order a Miller Lite. The guy hands me a 24-ounce Miller Lite. It's gold. And I'm like, what is this? What is happening right now? And it says 50th anniversary. I was like, 50th anniversary? Like, why haven't I seen this before? I'm literally like losing. I go back to my seat. I'm taking pictures, like the City Field and the gold can. Like this, like I'm a midget on a tricycle away from my happy place. Like this is everything. And I post it. Miller Lite reposts it. And then the whole day they're posting. Apparently, this is now like a thing that's happening right now. They've just launched the gold cans.
Yeah, they launched the golden can. It's pretty amazing.
And I need to go home and I need to find the gold can. Mine was gold can with blue writing. Apparently, there's also gold cans with gold writing. So I need to go home and get some of those. I'm gonna do like the Mikey Prano with like Spice Girls dolls. I'm gonna buy some to drink and some to save. Put them in my closet unopened. But the gold can, like this is dirt balls. Share with Dirty Sports and Miller Lite. You holding the gold can.
It's like
12, 16, and 24-ounce versions out there floating around.
That's right, guys. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com. I have it up on the screen /Dirty Sports to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
I'm so excited, Andy.
I know. I can tell. So, what do we have it down to? Warriors, Rockets. Who's winning that?
Warriors. Yep. That game's tonight, I believe.
Yeah, game 6 tonight.
Yep.
And you like the Warriors winning this series?
I do. I like Houston. I just don't think. Again, I said this about Houston going in. I like the Warriors in the series. This has 2 years ago Kings Warriors feel to it. I think the Rockets are going to be. I don't think they'll be the 2 seed again next year, but I think that they'll be pretty good for the next couple years. I think that they're a great scorer away from taking their team to the next level. They just don't have that guy. Like when in doubt, need a bucket, get a bucket. Your team, if Fred VanVleet is the best player on your team to need a bucket, get a bucket, you're not quite there yet. So I don't think they have the firepower. I could see them pushing this to game 7, but I don't think they will. And I think even if it went to game 7, that experience would pay off just like it did a couple years ago in a game 7 between the Warriors and the Kings. So yeah, I like the Warriors. And then again, this is we were kind of talking about how, if the Warriors get through and the Lakers get through, all of a sudden we have a 2-3 Lakers Warriors series, which is, an NBA boner for the league and, people who wanted to see another LeBron Steph rematch or whatever. But now you have a potential Warriors Timberwolves series.
That'd be a good one too.
That'll be a good one too. And, Steph Curry is a lot closer to his prime, although again, this is because LeBron has the only reason it's a conversation is because LeBron has just done it for the longevity is so long. But Steph Curry still closer to his true age prime than LeBron was, and then you get an Anthony Edwards situation where you really have a torch taking, potential run there. So that'll be exciting. It'll be much more exciting than if it was Minnesota Rockets. So I'm hoping for that. And again, we have a death battle to see who gets to play OKC.
Yeah. Well, everything should be shaped up by the end of the weekend then.
Yeah. And then Pacers Cleveland, I think, starts tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah, tomorrow.
And then Knicks Celtics. Does Knicks Celtics kick off on Sunday?
Monday.
Great. Thank God. Be home by then.
Actually, Pacers Cavs is Sunday as well.
It's Sunday. Okay. Oh, so it's tomorrow's just Clippers Nugs.
Correct.
All right.
Tonight's just Houston, Golden State.
Got it.
Yeah. Can we talk about this situation with Bill Belichick's girlfriend?
Did we touch on this last episode at all?
No, we haven't talked and just every day, it's almost good. Every day, we haven't talked about the interview. Every day, just more and more. I can't get enough of it. And I'm in a group chat and all of us can't because it's just head scratching. There's a part of me
as a sports fan and as a football fan that just doesn't give a shit enough, because I'm like, isn't Bill Belichick the coach of the fucking North Carolina Tar Heel football team now? And then it's like, whatever. But the part of me that does care, and I'm sure you've gone down the rabbit hole of this theory, is that she's a sex worker that he found during his hanging out with Robert Kraft, enjoying sex workers days.
I haven't heard that theory. I'm here.
You haven't heard this theory?
I'm here to entertain it.
Okay. So this is the theory.
Oh, this is a good one. I have not.
Robert Kraft, obviously, multiple run-ins with sex. We're Robert Kraft kind of obviously, as far as
job at a Jack Shack in a strip mall in Florida.
Right. But the common sense opinion of that is he didn't just randomly go there that day.
I agree.
This is part of his regimen.
That wasn't a once off. Exactly.
Yeah. On the way to the AFC Championship game. This was Robert Kraft uses sex workers for stress alleviation and whatever regularly. Now, I saw this TikTok, which is she exudes a lot of sex worker on social media behavior. It's a lot of posts in them eating out at nice restaurants. She is followed by and follows numerous upfront sex workers.
So did you know about her mom now?
No.
Well, this is actually going to help this theory. Her mother manages a sex shop. But
unbelievable.
Yeah. So her mom manages a sex toy shop.
Now the other part of obviously this theory is the now viral and famous moment of how did you two meet? We're not talking about that. Now, I don't know if anybody remembers. I'm loosely keeping up with this whole thing, but if my memory serves, at one point they floated the meet cute story of he met her on a flight.
Yes.
And signed her book and exchanged numbers with her, and then they reconnected. Why are we not? I'm assuming we're not sticking with that story. I'm assuming we're not keeping up with that, and we're now saying we're not talking about it because she or he or his PR rep or whatever is smart enough to know there's holes in that story. We can't be the one. We can let people say this is what happened, but if we put it out there as this was your meet, people are going to dig into it, especially in the every 25 to 35-year-old white woman on the internet is now a private investigator. era,
Yeah.
you're not going to get away with this. So just don't say that's what it is.
Well, the sex worker thing is a very interesting little wrinkle in this that I had not seen. Here's why I'm fascinated. Yeah, he coaches North Carolina State.
No, he coaches North Carolina.
Sorry, North
UNC.
Carolina. I meant, yeah.
He's a Tar Heel, not a Wolfpack.
Not a Wolfpack. Here's why I'm interested. I think he's the greatest football coach of all time, at least in my life. I'm also fascinated because he was literally. It couldn't be a different dude. He was we're on to Cincinnati. He's do your job. No outside distractions. She's everything he was against. Every single thing Bill Belichick. Why someone like me grew to love him. I was like, this dude, all he cares about is football. All he cares about is winning titles. And the Patriot way worked. And they built a dynasty. And he got 6 rings. And everything that Jordan Hudson brings to the table is the exact opposite of his entire life and everything you know about Bill Belichick. That's why I'm fascinated. Obviously, there's intrigue that he's 73 and she's 24. And then that lays into like, when I see him with her, I think of old Hugh Hefner. And I remember how depressing it was. Like, you had your run, Hugh Hefner. You had your run.
And then, the weird thing about it is like,
just accept being a grandpa.
Also, the cosplaying.
Oh,
thing,
so
like
weird.
The
Instagram
sweatshirt, the sweatshirt with the hole in it.
Let's pull this up, the interview.
The sweatshirt with the hole in it. When you're clear, by the way, when you are a 70-something-year-old football coach that lives and sleeps in the facilities because all you do is watch tape and eat frozen burritos, and then you show up in your sweatshirt with the sleeves cut off, everybody's like, diss tracks. When you have a 24-year-old girlfriend who's also like an Instagram hoe and is whatever, like, bro, somebody told you that sweatshirt's got a hole in it. And now you're like doing the cosplay of not caring.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. He's doing the theater, theater. Call it what you want. I mean, look at this. This is him sitting down with CBS in this holdout navy cutoff hoodie. Look at this.
Do you feel like you were treated with dignity and respect when you were let go by Robert Kraft?
Look at this.
With the no shirt on underneath.
She was like, Billy boy, this is your look. We're going to stick with it for the interview with CBS.
You don't give a fuck. You don't give a fuck about who you or whether they think of you. You don't give a fuck if they think
your brand.
Weird. Your brand is you don't give a fuck. So when they ask you why you're dating a 24-year-old sex worker, be like, I'm on to fucking North Carolina State. You don't give a fuck, dude. Just remember that. Billy, look at me. Say your mantra. IDGAF. Hashtag IDGAF. He's like, what's a hashtag? It's just like, Billy boy, you're not focused on the important thing here. The I is I, but in this case, it's you. So if it helps you to think UDGAF, think that. But in reality, it's IDGAF. I don't give a fuck what you guys think of me. And that's what this sweatshirt's going to say, that you don't give a fuck. In fact, Billy, do you think that they'll take video of you sitting down? Because I have these booty shorts that say IDGAF on the ass, and I think they would look hot on you, and they would just show that you don't give a fuck.
This interview is insane. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, well, it was a mutual decision for us to part ways.
He said fired.
It was a mutual decision.
The other change for Belichick is 24-year-old Jordan Hudson.
Look at this.
His creative muse, as he writes in.
So I'm saying, so in his new book, which
by
he's
the way,
promoting,
that's also a sex worker. Apparently, this is like no joke. This is a sex worker trope where sex workers tell
that
the guy that they're to refer to them as the muse.
his book.
Make sure that that's the philosophy.
Jordan was a
Look at her. Look at her all up in his grill.
constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks.
IDGAF. Is what you were supposed to say, Bailey. But fuck.
Come
all right,
on,
that
Bill.
worked,
It's
that worked too.
IDGAF. It's not a difficult.
I'd say IDGAF. I know, but it's like the new Billy would.
Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
See, there it is. Off camera, she says, we're not talking about this. And by the way, some context. They claim, and Belichick has come out and said, that this was not part of the agreement for the interview because they're promoting his new book. CBS is vehemently denying that, saying
What is not part of the interview?
that when it was scheduled, there was not going to be a discussion of their personal life, how they met, him and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
That it was going to be strictly about the book, which is bullshit. So CBS is saying that's just not true. You know, as most of these interviews go, you're given the questions, you know what they're going to ask, you know the themes they're going to cover. They're claiming that's just not true.
Well, I don't think. I'm assuming they didn't say, "Here's the questions."
Well, you don't know. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you're probably right. They didn't ask the questions, but this is
Well, listen,
fascinating.
let me tell you, as somebody who worked for CBS News, let me tell you something about the shot that you're looking at right here. There was a fucking producer and a director who was like, we need a shot that's going to get her in the thing because this bitch is going to chime in.
100%.
Make sure that we'll have a coverage shot, but she's got to be in it. Have her in the cover shot. What is, Andy, look at this camera shot. The subject of the interview and the interviewer are 40% of the screen. The other 60% is a brick wall, a fucking stair post, and then this chick sitting behind her fucking laptop at a desk. This shot is set up to capture this dumb chick chiming into the interview because they know it's going to happen because she's probably run interference every second of the way while they were setting this up for the day.
100%.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on, though Hudson has recently posted about it on Instagram.
You joined InstaFace, as you put it. I
Yeah.
love that. There's some great pictures of you
Billy,
and Jordan.
Billy, listen to me. Listen to me. If they ask you about something, call it InstaFace. Like, there was a time where everybody was like, the Facebook, but like all you boomers are on Facebook now, so like you can't do that. Call it InstaFace. Call it Tweeter if they ask. If they say anything about Threads, just pretend you don't know what they're talking about. TikTok, be like, never heard of it. Be like, is that the Chinese thing? Is that the Chinese app? You need to make it like you don't know what the fuck this shit is because you're like a football coach. InstaFace. How did you met? How does he's heard the term a million times, Instagram. How did he not know it's called that? Why would he call it InstaFace? That's how much he cares about football. Got it? Say InstaFace. Good.
You're a fisherman and she's a mermaid. It's charming. It's a different side of you.
It's not and here's the thing, by the way, I thought they were too weak. It's not charming. It's weird. You're not saying, people might find this bizarre. You're 73. She's 24.
Yeah. You're doing a Long John Silver fucking cosplay.
Yeah, you look like the guy who shredded all those kids, and I know what you did last summer.
Yeah.
You're dressed like the
Why
fisherman.
you got a hook for a hand?
What are you doing here?
What's the reaction been like?
What's it been like?
To have these...
Billy, it's IDGAF.
I didn't even know people could comment on Facebook posts on the face smash. What is it
different
called?
sort of photos. There's
The
another one where you're
tiki-taki?
doing, I know you're not into meditation or yoga or Pilates. You're balancing Jordan on your feet and she's doing kind of the Titanic pose.
Yeah, so I'm on some of those social media platforms.
Joe, this is so depressing. Look at him. He doesn't even. Bill Belichick, who always was ready to answer. If you saw him on a podium before an NFL game, after an NFL game, a Patriots practice, he always knew what to say.
It's kind of the sad beauty. I'm talking about in the past. It's kind of the sad beauty of great coaches like him in the past, where, Nick Saban's like, I don't even know who's running for president. And you're like, God damn it. These guys really. And like, you ask Bill Belichick in his former life, like, what's your wife think about this? He's like, do I have a wife? And they're like, oh, right. You guys are fucking megalomaniacs that only care about football. And now he's in a position where he has to talk about the thing he never had to talk about before, which was like this chick in his life who's obviously having a say in what you're saying, doing, eating, wearing, posting.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, they'd be like, oh, does the fact that you're playing in your 10th Super Bowl, is that ever like a drain on your family? It's like, what family? And they're like, oh, right. This guy forgot that he had a wife.
Yeah, exactly.
But I honestly don't follow him.
What he does follow isn't clicks or views, but touchdowns and, above all, wins.
You do seem like you're having a lot more fun these days than you were in other chapters of your life.
Really? Based on what?
I enjoy football.
He's controlled.
I enjoy the whole process of it. It's hard to win, and it's hard to beat other good coaches, good teams. I appreciate the grind. I appreciate the competition. But coaching's fun, and honestly, I feel like I haven't worked a day in my life.
Okay, so I want to address another part. See, so the sex worker is interesting. I just want to talk about just sex in general. So, because we obviously, we're dudes in our 40s. So like I was texting my buddies with this,
I
was like,
the sex.
Yeah, the sex. And this is what I said. I said to my buddies, I said, I'll just say what I texted. I'll just be blunt. I said, no pussy is worth this. And here's my point. I've known girls that
you ain't had that sex worker pussy. You ain't had that professional, grew up in a sex shop pussy. Andy.
Well, that's true. That's true. But here was my point. My point was, we both
spent 50 years getting uninspired hand jobs by the lady who you ignored while you were watching tape. You're like, how about a hand job while I watch this Jets-Bills game from last weekend? And then she's like, fine. Now he's got that sex worker, that sex shop, raised in a sex shop pussy.
Okay, well, here's what
I'm agreeing with you, but I'm just saying, Bill Belichick, he wasn't like bouncing around Venice, fucking maybe homeless girls. Like the dude was locked in a fucking. Film room.
Wow, took an unauthorized stray bullet from you right there. You made me you just nonchalantly walked by the room and just chucked a grenade. So here's what I'm gonna say. There's girls, and I know you can probably speak. You don't have to, but like I'll just speak for myself. There's girls that I've been with that like the sex is insane and they're crazy. And it's like a drug. I'm not making a joke right here. It's like a drug where I would keep going back because I'm like, something about this girl or whoever it was is like, she does something to me because it's just so insane. But even me, and I'm not arguably the greatest football coach of all time, even me rationally at some point, I was like, it's great, but I don't want to deal with all the other stuff, a la the Jordan Hudson stuff, how she is as a person. I don't want to deal with it. I got to sever my ties at some point with this girl. As great as those moments are, it's not worth everything else. That's what I can't wrap my head around. Is like,
well, let me ask you something, Andy. We do this with quarterbacks. We do this with coaches. We do this with franchises. Okay. Is Bill Belichick dating this chick in 5 years?
No.
No fucking way, dude.
But I'm shocked it's gone on this long, is my point.
He's in his I'm coaching college football era, dude.
True. Okay. That's a fair counter. That's a fair counter. I just wonder if he has those moments where, like, after
The moment is right now, dude. The moment is like, what the fuck just happened? Why? I could have said we were not talking about that. Why did you chime in? What the fuck are you? Now the whole world thinks that you're a sex worker who controls my life.
yeah.
IDGAF, baby. Stick with it. That's what got us here. That's what get us out. You don't give a fuck what these people are saying.
It
about
is shocking that nobody in his life, like his kids, are like,
I'm sure his kids are
Dad, come on.
fucking screaming at him.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if his kids aren't talking to him.
So it goes farther than this. She, according to The Athletic, so I'm not ripping this off of People. I would consider The Athletic a more valid source.
Not exactly a tabloid when you're behind a paywall sports blog.
That's what I'm saying. You're not exactly TMZ. Not that, I'd probably trust a lot of their stuff too, but like my point is, like, yeah, exactly. It's
You're
a
not doing
paid wall.
sensationalist news.
Yeah, it's not exactly. They released a whole report this week since our last episode. According to The Athletic, and they did their homework, she played a huge role in stopping the production. Remember, they were going to do Hard Knocks. That she got,
Hard Knocks UNC.
Yeah, that she got involved because I believe Hard Knocks is still owned by NFL Films or something. Even if they can do college or whatever, it's still an NFL
Films production.
Exactly. And get this, the story gets even more interesting. So they're bringing up sources in this article. So sources spoke on anonymity about the negotiations. In December of 2024, an email to North Carolina officials, Hudson identified herself as the chief operating officer of Belichick Productions. The Athletic was unable to identify any company registered under that name in Massachusetts where Hudson's other business entities are listed, or any state. So basically, The Athletic said, oh, you're claiming you're the COO of Belichick Productions on emails we saw? This company doesn't exist. So, there's a lot to this. Basically, the NFL's vice president, Jessica Body, another good porn name, Jessica Body, on March 3rd, sent an email to North Carolina's, their counsel, so their legal advice, confirming showmakers.
Mitch Johnson fucks stepdaughter Jessica Body after she gets trapped in the dryer.
That they are not going to proceed. So they backed out because there was a lot of headaches that were coming up.
Yeah.
And this is all on public record, or at least I think you can get access. The Athletic did. Hudson has an unofficial role at UNC since Belichick was hired in December. Hudson's registered entities in Massachusetts include a multi-platform media project called Chapel Bill LLC. So that is a legit LLC.
I'm assuming Chapel Bill LLC is just so she could trademark Chapel Bill so that they can sell Chapel Bill t-shirts and hats and shit like that.
Well, yeah, and listen to this. More than 200 pages of emails were obtained by The Athletic.
Or is it spelled like Chapel Roan, and now Bill's just going to do a cover of Pink Pony Club on the Instaface?
The Athletic obtained more than 200 pages of emails through a public records request, which detailed how the project was pitched. This is the Hard Knocks, and how close it came to completion. Hudson is not mentioned or included in any of the emails.
Yeah, well, she was included in that she is on his phone all day.
It's all very interesting.
She's like, well, I wasn't included technically, but I did. All of Bill's replies were me. Did you notice that all of Bill's replies signed Bill had a kissy face after? That was me. I typed those for Bill. Oh no, yeah, we knew.
It's all so crazy to me. There's a lot of moving parts here. And you threw another one. You just threw another one my way. Is this on TikTok? The sex worker stuff?
That's right. Yeah.
Interesting.
The
Robert Kraft element makes it more interesting.
That was just the tip of the iceberg. There's the layers of the like she's a sex worker conspiracy theory go to like the sex worker thing is like the reason for him and Kraft like separating because Kraft got caught and then whatever, and then like they were going to sex workers together or like on a blah blah blah, and then this could have been part of the reason why they needed to part ways because too many people were looking at his sex worker fucking usage, and then that was going to lead back to Bill. But then again, like I said, like how sex workers post on social media and how the men who employ a sex worker or like have a thing like Muse and like the posting of like it's always like a look at where we're eating, look at where he took me, look at where like whatever, like it's always like he's my sugar daddy and I'm his muse. Is like this is like the out of the sex worker playbook. She's following a bunch of them are following her. Yeah.
Interesting.
And then of course her just being like, we're not talking about that. Where it's like, why don't you just stick with the fucking we met on an airplane story when I was a student? Because why were you a student sitting in the first class section of a fucking jet?
Well, it's like I just put Jordan Hudson and sex worker into Google and instantly like some Reddit forum came up. But it's interesting how somebody writes like, at first I thought he was just being a creepy old dude. Now I think it's the opposite. It's like almost elder abuse. Like he's being like manipulated. Like it's the opposite.
Yeah.
And the most liked comment, this is my Roman Empire, which is like, yeah, that's how it is for me now. Like I need more. I need more. And you didn't even know, which I told you, which they just released, that her mom manages a sex shop.
Yeah.
A lot of things line up here. Man, this is going to make a great 30 for 30 if they still do those one day.
I mean, I feel like I know exactly. I mean, like we've seen this all before.
Okay, here's a question.
I mean, I'll say this. I've been pretty intimately involved with borderline sex worker, insta hoe, takes over elder guy's life, thinks she's the CEO of his fucking corporation now. I've seen it. You suck an old boomer's dick and now you're the CEO of his corporation. Oh my God, where have I seen that before?
Took me a second. Now I get it. Holy shots fired.
Oh, he's posting on the Instaface? I don't think he's posting on the Instaface.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I don't think he's posting on the Instaface that he took his partner to see fucking, New Kids on the Block. That's not how boomers call their golfing buddy, their golf partner. They don't call their underage girlfriend their partner. Maybe try to type in boomer's voice when you boomer post on boomer's Instaface.
Shots fired.
I'm the unmanned rifle at the end of Breaking Bad.
I'm going to ask you this question. Think about it for a minute. Don't think, oh, Rudy, that's stupid. That's easy. More surprising how this has played out with Bill Belichick, or the fact that they used to have a guy on their team committing murders. I'm being serious.
I feel like it's all intertwined.
It could be. I think this curveball of Belichick to me is more surprise. Like I know it's insane, and we all know me. I'm like the number one, can't get enough of the Aaron Hernandez documentary, podcast, whatever it is. And I'm like, how is a guy who's murdering people and then catching touchdowns from Tom Brady? How is this happening? I mean, this is up there as well. That's all I'm saying. Especially now that we've thrown in this sex worker stuff.
Well, again, it's like the whole sex worker thing. It's like, all right, you are a 20-something girl who met Bill Belichick on a flight, but apparently not anymore because you've decided that's not the story anymore. And now you were a student, but now a multi-millionaire coach fucks you and has put you on salary to run his Instaface.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like when people say like, oh, she's doing a lot of sex worker things, it's like, we're not saying she's just like, he's just a hooker, that this is like a Richard Gere, Julie Roberts thing where he's paying her $3,000 a week to live with him. It's like, how did you meet? And now essentially, you have a career which is essentially fucking Bill Belichick.
100%. Again, there's layers to this. You're not just sucking his D. You're the PR person. You're the social media admin. You're the coordinator for where you're going to dinner. You're doing all these things.
You're dressing him.
Yes.
But like, we don't want to get away from how you looked before I was dressing you. Do you have anything with holes in it?
I mean, Bill Belichick dressed as the Long John Silver to catch his girlfriend like she was like, think about how crazy that is. He's like, I don't know about this. And then she's just like, I'll show you how you feel about this. And she goes down on him. And
Yeah.
he's like, okay, we're cool. We're good. You guys can weigh in on this. 310-359-8365. That's the hotline. Give us a shout.
Is that the show, Andy?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, everybody follow me on social media at Joe Prano. You can come see me tonight at the Athens Comedy Festival here in Athens, Georgia. If you're in the area. Georgia. Super excited to be a part of the inaugural Athens Comedy Festival. Keep buying and drinking the Gold Miller Lights. Tag me in any photos of you guys. Tag Miller Lite. Tag Dirty Sports in any photos of you guys with the beautiful, beautiful gold cans. And keep your eye on joeprano.com for more shows. And we'll see you next week.
Cool.
Nick Celtics game one. We'll have Nick Celtics game one is Monday, you said.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get a proper Nick Celtics preview.
Yeah, you guys can follow us at The Dirty Sports. You can follow me at Andy Ruther. DMs are always open. Just like Jordan Hudson's legs.
Oh, Andy.
For a fee.
Yeah. Now, I was going to say, just because you're a sex worker doesn't mean you're a slut.
Yeah, that's true. I saw a great meme the other day, by the way. Speaking of, I love how I'm trying to get out of here. Speaking of sluts.
Speaking of sluts, that's our spin-off podcast. Speaking of sluts,
wasn't there what was the podcast that those girls did those girls still have that podcast?
What happened to the nut?
No, what was it? Guys We Fucked?
Oh, I don't know.
Remember that one?
Yeah. A couple comedians.
I saw I'm just going to pull this up real quick before we get out of here and see if you laugh at this. I couldn't stop laughing because I was like, for my own life, I was like, oh, this is spot on. Oh, it's shrinking it. It's basically showing girls who are looking skanky and then they're all nurses.
Yeah.
How people think sluts look, how sluts really look. And I was like, oh, nurses, man. I don't know what experience I had. Experience.
Yeah. And then I saw a great meme a while ago, which was like, it was a girl posting on like advice for your like 20th high school or your 10th high school reunion. She was like, I'm going to my 10th high school reunion, or I just went to it or something like that. She's like, let me give you a tip. A lot of people don't know like how to talk to some of the people in high school that were like that they haven't seen in 10 years. She's like, I didn't know how to talk to like that bitch from high school, like the chick who was just like a hot bitch. And she's like, let me give you a piece of advice. If you have to deal with like the hot bitch from your high school who's just awful to everybody, just start off with, how's nursing going?
I can see that for sure. That's funny. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday. And as always, stay dirty.